Alright, welcome back. It's been a while. I've taken a little bit of time off from my hobby of recording old school game footage. And I think I mentioned why in my silly little update video. I did a 5K. I'm a competitive runner, and I did a 5K, and did pretty well. Came in second overall. And after that, I decided I wanted to try and qualify for the Boston Marathon. And to do that, you have to hit a certain cutoff time. And the Boston Marathon is coming up, or excuse me, the Hartford Marathon, which is the one I'm going to be running in October, is just a couple days after my 40th birthday, which means the requirements are going to go from the cutoff is going to go from a 3 hour and 5 minutes to 3 hour and 10 minutes. So if I can do the Hartford Marathon in under 3 hours 10 minutes, I'll be able to qualify for Boston. So I figured this is my best shot, and I decided to stop doing 5Ks, 10Ks, 6Ks. I will make an exception for a 6K that's coming up, just because I was supposed to do it last year, but I missed it. But I'm not doing the 8K, no more 10Ks, no more 5Ks. I did a half marathon as a tune-up race, and did well, 90 minutes and 22 seconds. Alright, so we're going to be doing A Link to the Past. We're not going to be speedrunning. We're not going to be doing 100%. We're going to just play for an hour. This is going to be kind of like a chill. A chance to just kind of have fun and chill out. We're not going to beat the whole game on this one. We might come back and beat it someday in the future, but I think we're just going to play for like an hour or so and just shoot the breeze. And of course, we're going to name the character Mario. Always very tempting to name it Link, but that's boring. You know, there's a million. I've played through this game so many times, and to the point where it's actually quite tedious. There are parts that are still very fun. And what can you really say about this game? It's been talked about to death. I don't think there's really anything all that original left to say about it. Does a great job of following the same recipe of success that the original Legend of Zelda did. And after Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, which used kind of that side-scroller format. They went back to the overhead style. And it's kind of too bad, because it would have been nice to have one more Legend of Zelda game. I was just looking for a review, by the way. There we go. Now I'm not broke. It would have been nice to have one more side-scrolling Zelda game. The ones on the Panasonic, or excuse me, yeah, the Philips CDI, those ones don't really count. So I do have kind of a interesting story to tell about this game. I should have skipped over that dialogue. He said Zelda is your and didn't finish it. What was he gonna say? Sister? Destiny? Anyway, so back in 1991, Christmas 1991, I got a Sega Genesis, and I loved the Sega Genesis. I already had the NES, but the Sega Genesis was great too. Just had a ton of fun with it. But I did have a friend, a neighbor, a friend who had the Super Nintendo, and you kind of look on with envy. The Sega Genesis, if you had a Super Nintendo, you looked on at envy at games like the Sonic the Hedgehog games, the Shinobi games, the Streets of Rage games. If you had a Sega Genesis and your friend had Super Nintendo, you looked on with envy at games like Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart. So even though I loved my Sega Genesis, eventually I did want the Super Nintendo. So my sibling and I, we saved up our money, allowances, birthdays, whatever. And then in late 1992, I think, we were able, or maybe early 1993, we were able to finally pick up a Super Nintendo. Now, I remember the original Super Nintendo bundle came with 2 controllers and Super Mario World as the pack-in game. But I want to say I remember my sibling went to pick it up. I think I had something going on that day. And I told my sibling to get here's one of the best items in the game right here at the beginning of the game. I told my sibling to get the one with 2 control, to get the bundle with 2 controllers and Super Mario World is the pack-in game. I really wanted to play Super Mario World. My sibling comes back with the bundle with 1 controller and A Link to the Past. And I remember I was really disappointed. I think we popped in A Link to the Past, played it for like 5 minutes. Wasn't really that impressed. Didn't give it a fair chance. I think later that day we went out and rented the game, and we ended up renting quite a few games for the Super Nintendo. And then there was a rainy day, I think like 5 or 6 months down the road, it was raining, and it was a summer day, and couldn't make it to the video store or whatever to rent a game, so finally popped in A Link to the Past, and gave it a fair chance. And I got hooked. I absolutely loved this game. I'd never played any of the Zelda games. I didn't play the Zelda games on the NES prior. A Link to the Past was my first experience with the Zelda games. And I loved it. Even if I didn't give it a fair chance at the beginning, it did win me over. In fact, I even had to call a hotline back in the day to, I didn't have a subscription to Nintendo Power, and I didn't have any friends that were really into this game either. So had to figure out, or had to call one of those old, $3 per minute hotlines to for a couple of the parts that stumped me. Let's see, I can't remember which part stumped me. I think it was the part where maybe oh, where you have to pull on the statue. Wrong side. So this did become one of my favorite games. And then in the 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, you know, started game collecting. And my copy of Link to the Past on Super Nintendo is the only game that is part of my original collection that I still have. It is the only cartridge that I still have from my, you know, childhood library, whatever you want to call it. Because, you know, games got, you know, stolen, lost. I've talked about it before, but there was a period in 2013 where I had some economic hardships and I had to sell, you know, off a ton of games. You know, I did eventually buy them back. But one that I held on to was Link to the Past. That was one that I did not sell, just because it's the only game that I still had that was part of my collection. Obviously, I'm not playing it right now. I'm playing the version on the SNES Classic. And just because I haven't been making videos doesn't mean I haven't been watching them. I thought it might be kind of fun to talk about a couple channels that I've been paying attention to. One of them, if you're a retro gamer, I'm sure you know it. It's Summoning Salt. Summoning Salt, of course, has those long and very detailed videos about speedrunning world records for retro games. And I cannot help but be totally fascinated by watching someone spend, like, you know, when I was watching the one about Ninja Gaiden, Arcus, you know, speed ran Ninja Gaiden something like 30,000 times. Like, holy cow, dude. That is, that's commitment. You know, no thanks. Or maybe one of those games that takes an awful long time to speedrun. one on Half-Life 2. There's one on Halo 2. The Punch-Out records, you know, those were fun to learn about. So I really like those summoning salt videos. Those entertain me greatly. The other one, I've been getting quite a bit of mirth, enjoyability out of. I don't know what happened for the YouTube algorithm to recommend these videos to me, but it's Modern Women Archives. Basically what this guy does is he goes on TikTok and he finds, you know, videos of women complaining about, you know, being on a bad date with a man or whatever. And he, you know, compiles them together and then roasts them. It is funny. You know, it's such a simple formula, and the good news for him is that let's see, I need to find some bombs. Doesn't someone here have bombs for sale? Quick aside, the first time I played this game, I don't know why I still remember it, but when it asked me to enter my name, I made a mistake and I just put like the letter I. And so whenever any of the NPCs addressed me, it was always hello I or hey I. And for some reason that always stuck with me, because the first time I was playing the game, I thought it was just to name your file after. I didn't realize that the NPCs were going to call me by that name. And I was like, you know, I thought maybe it was, you know, classic Japanese bad English, or that maybe everyone was supposed to be Irish or something. Hello, I. And we're gonna go ahead and buy a bottle from this guy. But anyway, Modern Archive, or Modern Women Archive, yeah, he has to probably sift through thousands of hours of, you know, women complaining on TikTok. I was showing it to my wife the other day. She got a chuckle out of it. She said, I guess YouTube thinks, you know, now that I'm getting recommended all these videos, she said something like, I guess YouTube now thinks you're an incel. Alright, I just want one bomb. Or a cluster of bombs. I think I can get some down here. Is this a heart piece or a bomb? Okay, good, it's bombs. I'm gonna ignore heart pieces. You really don't need them. Yeah, they make the game easier, but I'm just not all that interested. And there's really only two tricks that I'm going to take advantage of. One is the mystery hut. I'm gonna go ahead and use our bomb here. Oops, maybe right here. There it is. hut always gives us bombs and arrows. So we're gonna go ahead and just get a few more bombs, a few more arrows. One more. So that's one trick. We can always just come back here and fill up. And the other trick that we'll use quite a bit of is the using the magic powder on the death fairies to turn them into regular fairies. And that trick is, we're going to be using it pretty much in every dungeon. We might do the half magic. Not really a trick, I think everyone knows that one, but get your magic meter halved, or effectively doubled. Okay, so we got the jars and the bug net. That's basically all we need from here. If I have one complaint about this game, well, two complaints. One, the story is really long and not all that exciting. I know at the time it seemed like a pretty epic story, but when you try to pay attention to it, you know, these days, it actually seems like a fairly generic story. We are looking for the magic mushroom. There we go. And I missed the thieves' hideout. I guess we'll go back for it. Yeah, I don't really want the, Okay, so next... Okay, we will do another trick. Not really a trick, but the early ice rod. This is also a great way to rack up some money going for the ice rod early. boomerang so useful. I can't wait to upgrade it. Is there a shop down here, or is it just the, Okay, yeah, it's just the, fortune teller. Okay, so here's the first place where we are going to... Oh no, we don't have the magic powder, so we can't do it here. That's just one. Okay, so this is just for money. We are going to need that money later. We'll probably already have plenty, but for the purposes of getting the flippers are the most expensive item in the game, 500 rupees. I always think it's amusing that in Link's Awakening on Game Boy, that the bow costs like 990 rupees, you know, ridiculously expensive. Alright, 500 rupees. There we go. Finally got the ice rod. It's a pretty handy item to have early in the game when you don't really have much use for magic anyway. Oh, yikes. Can I heal here? Oh, yes. Aside from the fact that the story isn't that all that interesting, the other complaint I have about the game is that a lot of the power-ups aren't that evenly spaced. Like, the red mail, the blue mail, those are gotten, like, so late in the game and basically back-to-back. Kind of like in the original Legend of Zelda, how you get the, you know, you can get the blue ring right at the start of the game, which is great, but the red ring you cannot get, or you're not supposed to get till the very end of the game. Like, that's just such a bummer. Okay, so I think we've done everything we want to do. We'll just stick with the boomerang. But we've done everything we want to do prior to going to the first dungeon. The tempered sword and gold sword, you get those basically at the end of the game. I feel like they should have done a better job of spacing out the order in which you get certain items. Power-ups, at least. The power-ups you should be able to get. Earlier. You can get the powered-up shield and the powered-up boomerang fairly early in the game, which... that's a little more my speed. Oh, there, yes. Now, we're gonna go to the witch's hut and get the magic powder. That way we can use the, Death Fairy's trick. I think I just have to go one screen over and return, and I get the magic powder. There it is. You know what? Well, I was going to buy some green potion and get my magic meter filled up, but I really don't need it at this point. Okay, so now we basically just go to the first dungeon. I will say this, one of the biggest improvements from Link to the Past over the original Legend of Zelda is money. Much easier to come by. This dungeon is very basic. It's, you know, essentially just a tutorial. Almost kind of like inside the Deku Tree in Ocarina of Time. Just trying to get your feet wet, trying to let you see what you're in store for the rest of the game. And I do like the setup for the dungeons. How you go to the map screen, and when you get the map and the compass, you know, it shows you the treasure chests, all the rooms. They definitely made it quite a bit more intuitive to figure out as compared to the original map screen of Legend of Zelda. Also, I haven't mentioned it yet, but putting the cracks in the walls is certainly made it more helpful, because in the original Legend of Zelda, you know, you might not know where the bombable walls were. You had to discover them on your own, or hope someone have a friend or neighbor that would show it to you. Alright, so here's our first death fairy. And so what we do, we just sprinkle a little magic powder on it. And you didn't see it, but it turned into a fairy and flew right into me. And that is such a helpful trick. Anytime you're low on life, and the death fairies are constantly reappearing. Anytime you see it, you might as well use your magic powder, because if they collide into you, they do, on top of taking some life, they do take some of your magic power. So you might as well put your magic power to good use, instead of just letting it go to waste. At least get rid of the enemy. Compass shows you where all the treasure chests are. And those info boxes. I have never found the I can't remember his name, Chris something. It starts with an H. Chris Henderson, or Chris Houlihan, I think. Chris Houlihan or Chris Houlihan, the hidden room in A Link to the Past, where it's a very specific trick, but you have to basically outrun the screen to find it. And it was like a contest winner who they promised a surprise in Nintendo Power would be his own hidden room in A Link to the Past. I heard it's taken out of subsequent versions. It's only in the cartridge, the original SNES cartridge. But when you get to that room, it's got one of those telepathic tiles. Alright, so now that we've found the big key, whoops, go to the menu, you see in the bottom right corner, we've got the map, the compass, and the key. Once you find the dungeon treasure, the key icon will also have an open treasure chest next to it. Which is a very handy indicator. Look how much magic that sapped away when the Death Fairy smashed everything. Oh, I forgot this guy needs arrows. Okay, here we go. Boss battle should be coming up. most nights. These guys are easy. I don't want to hear more of the legend. Okay, now we finally have the Pegasus shoes. Now we can dash around. Quite a bit more fun. Like during COVID, when everything was locked down and I had some free time on my hands, one of the games I played was Majora's Mask, and when I was playing Majora's Mask, I didn't want to do all the side quests. I did all those years ago, and just wasn't interested in doing them again. The only exception I made for side quests was getting the bunny hood, because the bunny hood makes the game so much more fun. You know, the game, it's all, speedrunning. It's not, obviously you want to play through it as fast as possible, but, because of resets every few days, you want to slow time, but you also want to have the bunny hood so you can move around fast. And I just found when I didn't have the bunny hood, I felt completely like I was playing in slow motion. In fact, if I play Ocarina of Time, the bunny hood doesn't make you move faster in Ocarina of Time, I don't think, so kind of a letdown. Oh, I forgot to get the book. Magic flute later. this Kakariko Village theme goes away pretty early into the game. And though I did mention that I had the, that I still have my original Link to the Past cartridge, I should mention what I am missing. Well, I kind of wish that I hadn't deleted my original Link to the Past file. I know it's forever and a day ago, but I probably deleted it probably in the mid or late 90s. Because I think once I beat A Link to the Past, I probably put it down for a good long while. I might have gone through and looked for all the secrets, but I did put it down for years and years and play other games. But I wish I still had that original file with the name I. I always run into that. I never understood this. Obviously he's just wishing for the way to open forward. Takes off his hat and makes a wish. Whatever. I wish those things would move. And I could never remember the optimal route through this dungeon. Yeah, like you don't want to go that way. And that's how you know you played this game too many times. You already know which pot to take the tile from. I haven't played this game in years, by the way. I think you can get a heart piece. We're gonna skip heart pieces. The second dungeon, not difficult either. It's basically another tutorial style dungeon. Oh, went the wrong way. Power glove. Silly name for that item. Everyone, of course, instantly associates it with the peripheral for the NES, which was basically a prototype for technology that would not be honed properly until the Wii. The only game that really worked all that well with the Power Glove was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I think worked kind of well, but Super Glove Ball worked pretty well also. I think that was probably, that was the one game that was designed with the Power Glove in mind, and it worked pretty well. And of course, everyone wants to make jokes about the Wizard and Lucas. The actor's name who played Lucas, Jackie Vincent, probably sick to death of hearing about that movie and his character. But that's how, I guess that's how you know you did a good job, or you made an impression. Everyone still brings it up to this day. That trick, a bit unintuitive. The game hasn't really put you in a situation yet where you need to light the torches. Like, you can get through the sanctuary just fine without it. is the twin mold fight. I'm sure there's a faster way to do this fight, I'm just not good at it. Alright, now we can finally get the flippers, the upgraded boomerang, and the upgraded shield. Not that this really does anything. I think there's just money down here. This place is probably the best money pickup in the whole game. There's 50 rupees every time you come in. So we'll go ahead and max out. Not that it really matters. And one thing I haven't pointed out yet is that the knights that you fight, the color of their armor kind of reflects, just like Link, it reflects their level of defense. The knights in the green armor are the easiest ones to take out. The knights in the blue armor, intermediate, you do get the blue mail. You should get, in my opinion, you should get the blue mail the first or second Dark World dungeon. They give it to you way too late. And then the knights in the red, red mail, red armor, they're the toughest. I can never remember the correct path to take to get straight to Zora. Second. swim. And this secret I did not know about until... I didn't know about it my first playthrough, didn't learn about it till much later. Okay, so first we'll throw the boomerang, and we'll get the magic boomerang. One of the best items in the whole game. Throw in the shield, get the fireproof shield. Alright, now we're in really good shape. This is, for me, this is when the game starts getting really fun. Now that we have the magic boomerang and, well, I guess the fireproof shield. It's okay. You know, it's being able to defend yourself against fireballs is a pretty good deal. And yes, we could get the third bottle. Not really necessary, but whatever. It doesn't take that much. And also, we have a bit more mobility now that we can pick up the white stones. Still can't pick up the black stones. Won't be able to do that until we get the Titan's Mint. Let's see. We need to swim under the castle bridge to get... Is it the castle bridge, or... I think it's the castle bridge in order to get the bottle. Or it's this bridge right here. And the landing to jump off is somewhere down here. This guy's got like the coolest spot in the whole game. He just sleeps under the bridge. No one's gonna bother him down there. My sword is still pretty weak, and it's going to be that way, unfortunately, until I get the... Even the Master Sword, I think, is pretty weak. Your weapon doesn't really feel upgraded until you get the Tempered Master Sword. Death Mountain. Probably taking the long way around. One item, probably the most curious item in the whole game, the good bee, or the gold bee. Let's see, I know one of these you can bang and it knocks a bunch of insects out. Or whatever it's called. There's one, or you smash into one of the statues. Oh, whoops, didn't mean to go there. Let's see, where is Death Mountain entrance? Okay, I missed it. I can also, if I wanted to, I could go back to the underground section of the castle. Bunch of like money and bombs, but I'm not gonna do the old man who's going to give us the magic mirror. Follow him in there and talk to him, he'll give me all my life back. Thank you. I think this is the only time you hear this theme in the game. this is the first dungeon that's a little bit challenging. This one, you kind of have to think a little bit ahead. And though I'm just kind of casually playing the game right now, I do want to also casually play Super Metroid at some point. Oh, this is annoying. You have to wait for all the tiles to get spent. They're not hard to dodge, it's just irritating. Other videos I keep getting recommended on YouTube. Since I've been interested in running, I keep getting recommended all these like track and field videos of female athletes who look fantastic. Like one of them is she runs for the Irish track team, the Republic of Ireland track team. Her name is Sophie Becker. Another one I keep getting recommended is a runner, or excuse me, a hurdler from the Texas A&M Aggies collegiate team. Her name is Kennedy Smith. They look great, but it's obviously supposed to be kind of, you know, for pervs. Okay, now I should warp back to the beginning, but I'm not gonna. I'll take the long road, it's not that far. Go ahead and drop down here. I think there's death fairies down here. Oh no, it just drops you back to... The game with all these pitfalls is basically trying to prepare you for that puzzle right there. Yep. First time I played it, beat it without getting the moon pearl. And you cannot advance until you get the moon. Well, I'm sure people found a way to do it. First got to... You want to fall down from the top, so that you land just above the platform changer. Alright, got the moon pearl. Now I can fight the boss. That didn't last long. You know what? We are going to change the... I'm not sure if it's going to have an effect on the room above. Hopefully it makes the little pitfall smaller. Not off to a great start. I probably should use bombs, but to soften them up a little bit. Alright, that's 3 pendants. After this, we get the... Master Sword, and then we fight Agnum. I'm lost already. I think I was supposed to take a different route. Alright, no bother. I was... You know, this has been going on for... Oops. Help me, old man, help me. This has been... I've got almost an hour and a half into the game anyway. I've got all 3 pendants. Got basically everything I want, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stop here. And might be a while before we come back to A Link to the Past, but... I don't know, this was just casual gaming, just having fun. I was thinking next time doing Super Metroid. Anyway, we'll catch you later.